All right, welcome back to Real Estate Bites. This is episode 138. Is it 138 or 130? It's actually 137. I got this titled incorrectly. But this is episode 137. I am joined here by my friend Ulrich Szabo. We're going to get into some stuff here in just a bit. But before I really intro you, man, for the folks who are watching, especially if you're local, obviously if you're local, Ulrich has an event coming up at his jiu-jitsu gym coming up in June that I want to let everybody know about. He is doing an adoption event for puppies. He's partnered with the Friendship APL, and he's going to have puppies out at the jiu-jitsu gym so that folks can come by and take a look. Do you want to speak to this, Ulrich? I know you've done this before, man.
Yeah, I've done this before years ago with the Cleveland APL, but it's an adoption event. There'll be cats and dogs out there available for adoption. They should be able to get them that day, and it's a great event, and it's a great way to help out some animals and be part of the community. And we'll have local businesses. We'll have raffles, and all the proceeds are going towards the Friendship APL. They're And then I'm going to do a free self-defense seminar for anybody who wants to come out. And I just want to, and then if you want to donate to the Friendship APL, I'll also have something up for a free month of jujitsu that you can win. But just want to adopt a bunch of animals that are,
They need some
need some
love.
homes. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Excellent. So that's fantastic, man. Everybody who's local, and most of the viewership here is local. Come on out June 27th to Lakeside Jiu-Jitsu. You can see it's 239 Miller Road there. I'm going to put Ulrich's contact information across the bottom of the screen here. So jot that down, get a hold of him, and come and adopt an animal and give him a home. And hope to see you guys there. So I'm going to leave you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was also appreciating the help of Civitas Real Estate. Jonathan, you're helping out doing this. Some of your realtors are going to local businesses and trying to get some donations, and I really appreciate the help. And you're always trying to do good for the community.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I do. I mean, the word civitas means community in Latin, and that's because I'm dedicated to it, as are you. And it's all good stuff, man. I love it. Love helping. Love seeing you do this kind of thing too, man. Because obviously these animals need it, and there are families out there and homes out there that need these animals too. Pets are wonderful, and they bring a new dimension of love and joy inside of a house, even when they pee on the floor sometimes, right? So. Hey, man, I'm going to drop this, but for everybody that's out there watching, I'm going to leave Ulrich's contact information here at the bottom for the length of this interview so that you can grab it and reach out to him should you want to come to this event, need more information or anything. You're going to learn a little bit about Ulrich here in just a moment here. So let me get rid of that. All right, my man. So as an introduction, Mr. Szabo here is a client. He's a real estate professional. He is an investor. He is a real estate a home inspector. He's a friend. He's my jiu-jitsu instructor, and all the above. So I thought, I talk to people about real estate investment a lot. Obviously, as a broker, I run across a lot of people who at least consider it. I wrote this little quote above my shoulder here, if you can read it. It says, "You will own nothing and you will be happy." Now, that is a quote from a gentleman named Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum. I didn't make that stuff up. If you look into this stuff, guys, it's kind of creepy, but it is something that I believe. I'm not going to speak for others, but I certainly have read and heard and listened to enough of this stuff that I believe that the very wealthy elite, who the World Economic Forum is just that. It's the world's richy riches who meet in Davos once a year, and they talk about how they maintain power and wealth, essentially. And that's kind of that quote is something that has floated around the internet for now about a decade, right? And I believe that it is what the elite want to do is they want to own everything, and we plebes own nothing. And so when I talk to people, especially good people who I care about, I always want them to consider their future and investing in something that might be able to help secure some more freedom for them and their families. And I personally believe that real estate is the best vehicle to do so. I think that you might agree with that, Mr. Sable. Would you say yeah?
Oh, definitely.
For sure. So I brought Ulrich on. I wanted to talk to him about how he got into real estate investment. And, some of the things he learned early on as a young investor. I mean, and the way he's changed his operation and how he does things now, I can tell you that he's been very successful in his real estate investments. They've all performed very well for him. And this is something he's committed to. So let's start us off, Ulrich. When did you get into real estate investment?
The first one was 2006, and I knew absolutely nothing.
Okay.
I had a partner who previously owned rental properties and sold them and was very successful at it. And at the time, I thought he had all the answers. And to be honest with you, it was beginner's luck is why he did so well. He happened to buy a property next to a church. The church wanted it, and he sold it for a big profit. So I thought that it was, he had all the answers, and I just followed his lead. And it'd be easy pickings, but it didn't end up being that way. And this is in 2006.
Yeah. So 20 years ago, you get your start. And I'm assuming, you doing your homework and you started to believe that real estate investment is something worthwhile to get into to secure wealth, generational wealth and freedom for you and your family. And this partner you had, how long had he been doing it before you partnered up with him?
I mean, he was doing it for probably like 3 or 4 years before he did it, and at the time too, I didn't have any idea of what things cost to repair, even ideas of really how to fix things. So I was going in pretty blind, and like a lot of people, I read a bunch of books and tried to educate myself, but I was really leaning on him at the time.
Sure. So you weren't that blind. You had done research. You had done homework. You did what you knew was the best thing to prepare yourself to jump into this.
Mm-hmm.
But like most new adventures, you got to live it, and you're right. You got to earn your stripes, right?
Yes,
And
yes, definitely.
And so what? How about that? You get into it. You partner up with this gentleman. You guys get into your first investment or so. Like, what are some of those early painful lessons that every single real estate investor is going to get into, no matter how you prepare? Because like you, I did the same thing, man. I read the books, I listened to the podcast, I studied real estate investment for 2 years. And of course it prepared me, but I still got my ass kicked on my first two. So what are some of those things that you came across that were frustrating and discouraging at the beginning?
It was a different time. The only thing where we were very lucky is we bought something called an REO, which were like it went through the foreclosure process, and the bank took it back. So we thought at the time we were getting a great price, but if you can remember my time frame, 2008 happened,
Mm-hmm.
and everything just hit rock bottom. But the biggest thing that I learned was that, like, in the problem that I had with my partner was is he would kind of half fix things. It was really done very poorly, and he always did everything on the cheap, and it always came back to bite me.
Hmm.
The tenants that weren't problems became problems, especially if you don't fix things on a timely manner, or they keep the same problem keeps coming up. They basically, it created problems that didn't need to happen.
Mm-hmm. And so, for everybody who is watching and might not know, REO means real estate owned, right? This is a bank owned property. Like Ulrich said, it's purchased back from auction at a sheriff sale. So how are you and your partner splitting property management? Who is responsible for what?
It was kind of that was the other thing. I personally don't. It was kind of a free. Like I would have him handle all the repairs and coordinate all the people. I would collect rent. I do, cut the grass if it needed to be, or do little things when it needed to be. But I would generally handle the people. So, the partner was kind of always aggravating the clients, and then the clients would take their frustrations out on me.
And they call
And
you.
then it was this vicious circle of till till things finally came to a head, and we sold the properties and parted ways.
How long did that take?
Oh, jeez. It took a while. It took 20, probably like 2015, 2016, sometime around there.
Okay, so you're in business with this gentleman for 9 to 10 years, and
Yes.
how?
Never made money.
Wow, that's incredible. That is. I did not know that. So I've known basically most of the stuff you've said, except for that. Um, and okay, so you're in business for 10 years with this gentleman. How early on did you begin to see the signs that this might not be working?
You know, at first at times it would work, and then like I thought, because everything was going wrong during 2008. So you didn't think about it, I just kind of grinned and bared it, and like, because I owned a retail shoe store at the time, and nothing was doing well at the time. So
Mm.
I was just trying to survive and not think about it, and do the best I can. But because, necessity is the mother of invention, that's when I started trying to teach myself how to fix things, try to find other avenues. When I started learning more, that's when things started going to a head.
Hmm. It's amazing how that works, right?
Yes.
And so, when I talk to a lot of young people, especially a lot of young dudes who will ask me about real estate and everything, and I tell them, if I had that magic time machine, what I would do coming out of high school is basically learn the trades, right? Learn how to make a house beautiful, save up money, living at home until I could buy that first duplex, go in one side, the ugly side, while I'm living there, fix it up, rent out the other side. Once this side is pretty, right? Get myself into the other side, rent that out for top market rent, make this side pretty. And then once I've got enough money, go buy the next duplex and do it over. Right. I would house hack my way to retirement by the age of 40. Well, I've missed that by nearly 10 years. So, you know, that education piece is in the desire and willingness to work hard it's so critical, right? I mean, I talk to these young people, and when I start talking about learning how to fix stuff and putting that time in and that work, that's when I see their eyes glaze over, right? Because they expect some magic, some magic. I don't know what they expect. So you part ways with your partner in 2016, and how do you get into your first one on your own? What's that look like?
I was encouraged, actually. I was doing privates with a real estate investor who owns a lot of properties, 40, 50 properties. And he was telling me, because he would talk about his problems with his tenants. And sometimes I'd give him some solutions for those, because I was, used to dealing with tenants for years. And he was telling me how I need to get back into it. And I he helped me out. He kind of showed me his system of how he put everything together, and some things I took a lot of that, and then I took a lot of what I learned, and mashed it together and started doing my own thing.
And what type of property you prefer going into?
I prefer single homes. I prefer
Wh-
single family homes.
Why?
Number one, there's a lot of discrepancies can happen between tenants, who live on, this person's parking in my spot, this person's making too much noise. You get those calls, and I didn't want to get those calls. The other thing that I like about single families a little bit more is that it can bite you, but the tenants pay for the water. And with doubles, at least in my experience, sometimes it seemed like they would invite their family over to wash their clothes or whatever, on the weekends or something, because the bills were absorbently high. So that is something that gets taken out of the equation. That's the other thing I personally like about single family homes.
And then what type of home it would be your preference now with this experience? Because I mean, I've seen you by all types of homes. I've seen you buy homes that need, um, you know, none of them have really been turnkey, right? But some have needed way more work than others.
I
Um,
mean, I bought one where I literally the only thing that was stayed was the four original walls. I don't prefer to do that anymore, but you know, if the price is right. But it's definitely a house that needs to be shined up is always what I'm looking for. Something with sweat equity value in it, and everything I've even my own personal house. It's always been that that is the best way to find the best deals, get the most equity. And what I like about a house that's beat up versus a turnkey house is you get to see what's under the hood. You know, you don't know all the time. People cover things up, and they're very good at hiding them.
mhm.
So I don't mind that it's a little beat up and bruised. I would rather make it my own and find and even when you try to do everything right, things still come up. It like just freak things. I had a house in Elyria that the water line on the street broke, and when it breaks, they don't clear like all this debris goes into the lines, and the water company doesn't just clear out the lines before they reconnect them. So basically all that debris shot into my 100-year-old house's pipes and blew it up, and I had a break at the main that the insurance and or the water company does not cover because that's not in their policy. So I had to suck it up, and I had to do this quickly. Find someone who I could find reasonable to get an excavator, dig it up, and put a new main water line in. So
Yes,
things
sir.
do come up like that.
What about a type of house? Is there any specific style of home that you would
Oh,
prefer to
like the
own over
perfect
other?
house, you're saying that I would
I mean, like, do you prefer ranches? Do you prefer colonials, split levels? Like, what do you prefer working in, or does it matter to you?
it, I prefer them to be probably I would think size more than style. I mean,
Mhm.
ranches are always nice, especially ranches are and I guess basements can be a blessing and a curse, but they I do like the basements because you can work underneath them. You can put power, if you need to put electrical lines in, you can put electrical lines in from. It's a lot easier to work on those would be probably be the best. I
What
don't
about
like too
size?
big. Probably 12 to 1500 square feet would
Okay,
be, yeah, that would be like the perfect scenario. Perfect scenario too would be a bath and a half or two full baths.
right. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, you're talking about, you know, the bath and a half, the two full baths. That equals more rent to charge, right?
sure,
Because it's more desirable.
sure,
And then the size and style of the home, you know, a 12 to 1500 square foot ranch, ideally, because of its easy to maintain, right? With the basement, I forgot to add that. It's easy to maintain, it's less expensive to maintain, repairs are easier to get to, all those types of things.
sure.
Um, so, right now, you operate solo, right?
Yes.
You ever plan on changing that?
Not at this moment in time. The one mistake I see, this is my personal opinion, so everybody's out there will tell me I'm different. In fact, I have home inspection clients who don't do it this way, and they seem to be doing well. So take it for just an opinion, but I think that until you build to a certain number, there's no point in getting a property management team.
I agree. I made that mistake, and it was costly and painful. Um, so right now, so for the folks who are watching, if you can't tell yet, Ulrich is a serial entrepreneur. He owned a shoe store. Um, this is another thing I want to talk about. So right about the time that I met you, you were closing up shop, right?
Hmm.
And this is a little bit, we're going beyond real estate. This is just sort of a thing that I think you did that was probably really important and critical to your development, but you closed up shop. And this was a shoe store that had been in your family for quite some time. And it had to have been painful to do so, but you did it. Why'd you do it?
Um, I really believed in its people at the time thought I was absolutely out of my mind, but I really believed that like technology, AI, things like that, like were going to take hold. And that was the main reason why I was looking for something, and I thought real estate would be the best option because no matter how many robots or AI come out, people are going to need somewhere to live. And I just thought that real estate, local, like traditional family-owned real estate, I'm sorry, retail was done for. And I just thought it was a toxic um, environment as far as like it's a race to the bottom. You know, everybody's trying to cut everybody's prices. Even the when you have the shoe, like we were in the shoe business, so when you have the shoe company selling against you, and the shoe companies are selling on Amazon, like there's too much. There's it's. I was working twice as hard to maintain things, and I just didn't want to do that. Where you know, where real estate was growing for me, and even home inspection, like there's people are thankful for what the service you're providing for them. It doesn't feel like you're appreciated.
And you mentioned, the threat of technology being one of the, if not the biggest motivating factor for closing up shop. You didn't just do this last year. This when did you close shop?
2019.
All right, so this is 7 years ago. And the threat wasn't even necessarily new. But it was happening, right? They were taking your lunch money, and
Hmm.
you saw it, and you made what had to be an incredibly difficult decision of shutting that store down because you saw the writing on the wall. And man, I just see this so often. I've got a client right now. I'm trying to move their shop, and he probably waited 10 to 15 years too long to try to sell. And he just hung on to the business way too long until it reached a point where it really started to drain the life out of him. And oh yeah, by the way, he's not a young fella, so he has 10 to 15 years more age and lack of ability to actually clean the place out and things like this. And he's struggling because of it. And it's a shame, but you saw that coming. And that's sort of a lesson that it's just super important. If you always got to be, in a sense, reading the tea leaves, right? You always got to be gauging what might be coming down the pike. What are the threats to your business and to your operation, and make adjustments, and be decisive, and not hold on to something that is possibly going to bleed you out if you don't let go. And again, man, I commend you because that couldn't have been easy. I'm sure you had a lot of opposition, not just friends, but family members who really didn't want to see you do that. But you had to make sure that you and your family and were able to continue going, and there was no reason to drown with the sinking ship. That's a tough thing, and for anybody who's out there, I wanted to bring Yulrik on because there's lessons that in his story that are invaluable for anybody who might be getting into business or investment, specifically real estate investment at all. He started with what he eventually learned to be limited knowledge, certainly compared to what you got now, right?
Oh, definitely.
And it hurt over time. It hurt, whether it was, you started the 0809 crash in real estate was painful enough, but you started talking about the partnership and how that really was the difficult thing because you guys weren't operating in lockstep. Your property management responsibilities were conflicting. You're dealing with the clients, with the tenants rather, who are getting upset about shoddy work that he's going out and doing. So you got to answer for his work. So the tension there had to be pretty awful for quite some time. You sold out of that. You split ways, dissolved the partnership, got very discouraged, but not enough that one fella couldn't talk you back into it because you still believed in the promise of what might be with real estate investment. So big thing is you didn't quit, man. You didn't quit on that. And now, would you change anything?
No, you really can't. I mean, there's one more painful lesson. So I took some of the money that I had at the time. Now you got to remember this is 2006, and it was Apple stock. and it was probably about 100 shares back in 2006, which would be worth a lot of money in comparison to those houses. But I still wouldn't change it because the amount of knowledge that I gained, you know, I probably wouldn't have, continued to buy Apple stock, for instance, continuously. I'm not a stock picker, but that, let's say I would have kept it. The amount of real estate, I fared out better in the end, but it was through painful lessons and a lot of, when you don't have the answer, you go out and find it. You just don't do, in my opinion, at least if you have a good idea, you just don't give up. You just make adjustments. Try not to make the same mistake twice.
Yeah. And you've done so in, again, the shoe store, real estate investment. You have your own business as a home inspector, and you just opened a jiu-jitsu gym, right?
Yes.
So entrepreneurism is clearly in your DNA, and you have continued to do so. And I got to ask you this. So being willing to take risks is clearly a part of getting into real estate investment. And it's clearly a part of opening any business. If you are petrified of risk, then none of that stuff is, it's probably not a good idea because it's surrounded with risk. But, the old saying is no risk, no reward, right? So you're not afraid of risk, and you probably could never go work for somebody else at this point in your life.
I'm pretty unemployable. And even with partners, my wife always says I don't play well with others. You should just do your own thing. And yeah.
Listen, so again, for the folks out there who are watching this, if you have the thought of maybe getting into the real estate investment space, investing in anywhere, starting a business, I highly encourage it. I want to see good people go out there, take the risks, put in the hard work. You can't ever stop learning. You can never, ever stop learning, and just go for it and take it on. And because the rewards are incredible. I mean, again, would you change a thing?
No.
Life's pretty awesome, isn't it?
Yes. And
it is.
The other thing I would add is try to find somebody who has experience. That's probably was my saving grace, even though I went through it the first time. But and I was willing to listen and not act like I know everything and not say I know and things like that, and be willing to basically, take someone's process and work with that and admit that they're ahead of me, because there's always people who know more than you. I learn stuff from people all the time, and I try to bounce ideas off of people who I really respect in all my businesses.
So mentorship was a key.
Yeah, it really made a huge difference.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Man, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming on and sharing stories and sharing experience. Because again, if you're out there and you're considering doing this stuff, I encourage you to do it. If you're local, listen, Civitas, we have resources. We've got a network, we've got resources, we've got experience and knowledge that we can connect you with. Give me a call, and we can help work some things out. Before you go, let me put this back up for the folks that are watching. Remember, Ulrich at his Lakeside Jiu-Jitsu gym on Saturday, June 27th, is having this event where he's adopting out puppies from the Friendship APL. Come support it. Come get a puppy. If you're interested in donating to the APL, if you're interested in bringing a raffle basket, reach out to Ulrich. His contact information is down there at the bottom. And once again, my friend, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, sir. We'll talk soon.
Okay.